Sir, it's been a couple of weeks now since you announced Senator Harris as your running mate, and we haven't seen her out very much, including yesterday in Kenosha. Why is that, and what role do you see her playing in the final 2
She's
months?
been on the road. She's out herself. The role is that, just like when Barack and I campaigned, we tried to cover as much territory as we could, and both of us out campaigning. She is an incredibly competent candidate. She is doing a great job. There will be times when we're together, but there's a lot of territory to cover. I talk with her almost every day. I speak with her. We work together, and I have great confidence in her. There's nothing about not campaigning together. It's about being able to cover more territory.
And just as a second question, do you know when you will have another COVID test? Do you have any plan, any future testing coming up?
Well, what they're doing is they're going to do it on a regular basis because everyone on my service detail and people who come into the house with me, they're all attested. So I just, yes, sir, show up and put my head back, when they tell me.
You don't know when it'll be? The next one?
Pardon me?
You don't know when the next one will be?
I imagine it'll be sometime this week. I just don't know. But it'll be a regular basis.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Let me ask you about another thing the president said last night. He once again suggested to his supporters that they should consider voting twice if they're in one of those states that can allow you to request an absentee ballot. Say, fill that out and then go try voting again in person. State officials have said it's a felony in some cases. Just curious what you make of it.
It is. It is a felony. You're a felony here in the state of Delaware. Look, I mean, how many times does this president have to suggest things and say things where you all don't just write, he's a fraud? Not an opinion. He wanted to, maybe we should delay the election. Maybe we should, write-in ballots are fraudulent, not a single bit of evidence. It just is, and I think it's all designed to create so much chaos that no matter what the outcome of the election is, that it's thrown up in the air. I think that must be his reason because, he says and does things that no other president that I'm aware of in American history has ever done. And we all go, well, there's another ridiculous, illegal, inappropriate thing he said, but he says so many of them, it doesn't matter. It is, it just undermines the legitimacy of our democratic process, and it's dangerous.
You said today is the angriest you've been as a presidential candidate? But you said you're trying to restrain yourself. There are a lot of people out there who are supporting you or are inclined to not vote for the president who would say, why isn't Joe Biden angrier about all of this?
Because presidents of the United States should be presidential and should lead by example, as well as make clear exactly where they stand. Getting down in the gutter like the president does, saying things that I'd be inclined if we were behind a barn somewhere, would be a different thing. But that's not the job of a president. The job of a president is to set an example. My anger is real because I must tell you, I carry, and I deliberately didn't bring with me today, Delaware National Guard had a pin made up. That's a gold star that was made up for my son, Bo, who didn't die in the field. And I always carry it with me. And I didn't carry it today because I was worried that if I focused too much on it, that I would engage in some of the kind of language the president has used. But I just think it is sick. It is deplorable. It is so un-American. It is so unpatriotic. And then watching him this morning, while I was shaving and the TV on, talking about he never said anything like that. He honored John McCain. He's the reason why flags were flown at half-mast. Oh, wasn't that noble of him? He's the same guy that when the ship went into harbor, he made sure the USS McCain was covered. You couldn't see it. He's the same guy that denigrated John. He's the same guy who did a similar thing the way he talked about George H.W. Bush, who was shot down in the Pacific. I mean, but he just stands there. It's almost pathological. I've never said anything like that. No one's been better to the military. I've just got to focus on what has to be done, not what he did, what I do from here, what gets done from here.
Thank you, sir.